Hi, this is Peter Gould, and this is episode 207, Inflatable. I'm executive producer.
And I am another executive producer, Vince Gilligan.
I'm Diane Mercer, and I am the producer in charge of Post.
I'm Ed Begley. I'm an actor in this wonderful episode, and I can't wait to see it again because I sure loved it the first time.
My name is Gordon Smith, and I'm the writer.
Hi, I'm Kelley Dixon. I'm the editor.
And this scene that we're watching now, this teaser, is actually, unlike the rest of the episode, most of this episode is directed by Colin Buxey and written by Gordon. But this teaser is written and directed by Mr. Thomas Schnauz, who is not here. And it was originally intended... What was it originally intended for, Vince?
Oh, my God. It was shot in season 1 of our first season of Better Call Saul, and it was for episode, was it 8?
9.
9, sorry. I always get the numbers wrong. And the thing to know here, this is a very unusual occurrence that we're using a teaser from a whole other episode. This had nothing to do with anything but the fact that back in season 1, we didn't have time for this wonderful teaser in episode 9 last year. And we didn't want to waste it. We didn't want to use it just as a DVD extra. That would have been kind of wasteful.
Tragic.
So we knew going into this, the plan always was for this. Once we got to this point of this season, the plan was always to use this as the teaser of this episode. So it was nothing went wrong with this particular episode. This was all part of the pre-planning before we even wrote the script of this one.
But of course, it meant that Blake Bertrand, who plays young Jimmy here, and Raphael Sabarge, who plays Jimmy's dad, and Steve Snedden, all had to wait for a full year to see the scene that they'd done.
Yeah, more than a full year, probably,
That's
unless
true.
you showed it to them. That's why, because we filmed this in, 2014?
And I got to give a shout out to our good friend and friend of the show, Steve Snedden here in particular. Steve Snedden, folks, for the 14 folks out there who ever saw our X-Files spinoff, The Lone Gunman, Steve Snedden, and hopefully there's more people than that.
It's available on DVD now.
Available on DVD.
It's worth watching.
And it is such, that is always an arrow in my heart that show, The Lone Gunman, didn't last more than one season. But Steve, playing the con man, was one of our wonderful stars of that show. He played Jimmy Bond on that show. It did a great job.
I got a question, though.
Yeah.
When you guys were breaking this episode, I mean, you had already broken episode 205, which had this story about Jimmy and Jimmy's dad that Chuck told.
That came later. Yeah.
So you were thinking that you could basically use this episode, this part of it then?
Yeah, we backfilled a little. Talk about that.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out kind of where this would fall, and we knew, we as you say, we knew it kind of probably would fall later in the season because early we had too much other business to do.
Yeah.
And then when we got to 5, we started talking like, oh, well, maybe we could use that story as a sort of counterpoint to this because we knew we were hoping that we could use this later in the season, and then that was sort of we backfilled based on that. So
it was fun to see Chuck's point of view on Jimmy's relationship with his dad,
right.
and then to see Jimmy's point of view.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a nice way of showing they're not in sync. Their stories are similar. You can tell they're talking about the same stuff, but Chuck's point of view is definitely not what we sort of see here as the objective truth of what life was like.
But he's not completely wrong either. It's a bit of a Rashomon kind of a situation. Yeah.
And of course, we can't let this go by without mentioning the amazing work that Tony Fanning and the prop department did on this set. We've never done anything, at least on Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, that went this far back in time.
Yeah.
And
this is like 1973.
We would sit there while we were cutting it and just marvel over all the detail and the forgotten brands that are on those shelves.
Although Kelley talked about the fact we got
and the fact that they're in Cicero, Illinois, which is on the south side of Chicago, south side, especially in the 70s, there would never have been rooting for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Would have been the White Sox.
It would have been the White Sox.
Uh-oh.
But, there's always that lone fan who's a Cub fan. So, but go White Sox, I say.
Would he have been killed if he had put the Cubs up in a store?
I really hope not. I don't think so. Cicero was a rough place. It's got a lot of history, but I don't think that they would have. Not over the Cubs. No.
And you knew this because you grew up in Chicago?
I grew up in Chicago, but not that. I wasn't there that early.
Gotcha.
But I was a White Sox fan.
You were a White Sox fan?
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
Right on.
Southside.
I love that you use Raphael Zavarch, too. He's a dear friend of mine. He's such a wonderful actor.
He's a wonderful actor.
Have you worked with him?
I don't know that we've worked together, but we've been friends for a while. We're on an environmental board together called Green Wish. And so it's something that he started, and it's a way to funnel money to green organizations. So, those little things you have at the market where you can give $1, $3, or $5, and it was his idea.
Oh, cool.
So we've been working on that for years. He's a
that's
very nice guy and a wonderful actor.
He is terrific in that scene too.
He is. All three of them are. And I love the look of it. Like you, I marvel at all those brands and stuff I know very well from that period. It was really spot on.
Yeah.
Great seeing film again. That big.
That big
the big
case
Kodak-
in the back,
big
the
Kodak
shelves in the back
case.
was amazing.
Yeah, great job. So this scene, this is shot at the real courthouse complex in Albuquerque, the old one, the shut down one. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah. It's often a sort of disused wing. We liked Colin and I liked especially that the horrible plight of government workers. She's got a window, but it looks out into essentially a concrete hallway.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I've moved up. I've gotten a window, but
We were thinking a lot about the fact that this is the same office that ADA Oakley from episode 205 works in, and so we didn't want to. We couldn't make the offices too nice because he
He'd
said
kill his mother for a window.
He'd kill his mother for a window or a fireplace.
So he's not. He's obviously, this woman is his boss. She's got a window, and this is she's played by Julie Pearl, and this is Kurt Caceres and Julie Pearl. These two actors did a wonderful job.
They're very formidable. I'm worried. I'm worried about Mike here.
Mike is doing what Uncle Tio asked him to do here, I guess. Right?
That's right.
as far as he's willing to go.
So he's basically saying that the gun wasn't Tuco's, it was
But he's
and-
not
but it
going so
wasn't
far as
his.
to
Not
say
gonna
it was
say it's
his.
his.
right.
So he's not quite abiding by the letter of the agreement, but close enough.
And he's willing to sit there while his lawyer suggests that the gun might have dropped from a bird's beak, which is just such a wonderful line.
And to see
Gordon.
Jonathan's reaction to all of that is so great. I'm such a Jonathan Banks fan. I have been for many years, and boy, is he great in this part.
Have you worked with him, Ed? Have you worked with Jonathan?
I have not. We somehow missed working together. I don't know how that is because he's been around a long time and done wonderful work, but I'm a huge fan from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and all his many movies. He's sensational.
Well, as are you, my friend.
Yes.
I would love to see, we talked about this, I'd love to see you and Jonathan sit down and just talk about the business and
We can
and
make
your
that happen.
careers. Yeah, we should. That'd
We
be
did a bit of that together on the set. Well, not on the set, off the set. We would get together at a hotel in Albuquerque and have a meal together. We spent some time thanks to you guys, so I thank you for that treat.
nice.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Well, we were just so excited to have you on the show, Ed. And of course, when you joined us, you didn't hear an awful lot about Clifford, Maine, did you?
No,
What did you know about Clifford, Maine when you started?
I didn't know a lot, but I liked where you're headed with it. I liked the whole Santa Fe nature of who he was and the guitar and all of that. And thank you for giving me the part because I don't play the guitar a lick, so that was it was fun for me to try to learn enough to get by, and you somehow cut around and made it look kind of like I play the guitar.
You're
so
a great actor. It looks like you play
You're very, very kind to do that. So that was great. And to work with the great Bob Odenkirk, too. I've been a fan of his, too, as a stand-up, as a comedian in every way, and, from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad both. And he and I become friends. And even, thanks to you, I got a day in his movie, too. So nothing but good things come from knowing you guys.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Girlfriend's Day, I'm in that, thanks to you guys. So you got me a lot of work.
Thanks to you, you did it all, and we're lucky. We're lucky to have you on the. We're lucky to have you in the family now, and once you're in the family, you're always in the family. That sounds a little like the mafia.
You know, we.
But it's true.
You
Well,
try to
I-
get out, but they keep pulling you back
That's
in.
right.
I want in. Believe me, I don't want to get out.
Well, you know, your name has passed my lips so many times since working on Breaking Bad, because we are actually we used to be neighbors.
That's right.
And on the way to school, we used to walk by your house every morning, and I'd see you, and we'd go, oh my God, that's Ed Begley, and the in-laws, and
bless
my
your
God,
heart.
that's right, of
you're
course.
such a nice guy, and you're so you and your family are so nice. I kept and love your work all the way, all the different kinds of, and
You
and
too, right back at you,
So
Peter.
we've been, I think we've all been pitching you for roles on Breaking Bad,
Oh,
and Better
thank
Call
you.
Saul, right from years back.
Am I allowed to talk about the fact that I was up for Chuck? I was up for the part of Chuck, Jimmy's brother.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Talk
Okay,
about
let me
that.
tell you what happened and the critical mistake that I made. You got to be careful what you say when you leave a casting session. I did the reading and I felt it went good. And as I went out the door, I called up Michael McKean actually, and I said that I read for the same part. And I said these unfortunate words. I said, "May the best man win." And boy, did he ever. He is so great in this part. I don't know what the hell I would have done with it, but nothing like what he did. He is brilliant beyond words. It's one of the great performances in recent television. I just love him in this part.
Well, I got to tell you, Ed, and not to take anything away from Michael. Of course, we love Michael and we love the job he's doing. I think it's safe to say, and we're not just saying this because Ed is sitting here, that was the single hardest decision, because the audition that you did for us, and we didn't see it in person. We saw it on tape, and I apologize, by the way. I always say this to all our actors, that we're not watching these live. It's just that's sort of the way it's done now. It's on tape, and then it's on the computer.
I kind of like it. I'm an actor that likes that.
Okay.
You know, you relieve some of that. There can be some pressure
Yeah.
in the room, and I don't mind it at all on tape, to be
All
honest.
right, good.
Well, that's good to hear.
It was the single hardest. It was because we had a certain idea in mind, and at that point, honestly, we had Michael in mind.
Sure.
But we always, it's a little bit belt and suspenders. You always want to see if you've got the right idea in mind. So, and your read practically turned. It was so. We're looking at each other. We're like, oh shit, this is a whole other way to go with this, and it is. You were so wonderful. I mean, that was the toughest call
Well,
we
you
ever
made
had
the
to
right choice, and you made the right choice in casting me as Clifford Maine, too, because I love that part.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Well, you're wonderful. Yeah, you could do anything. I mean, you all the greats can have a lot of range, and you can do anything. And
You're more than kind to, I became a fan of you back in X-Files and then this show, and before that Breaking Bad, the storytelling that you guys do. You see a pair of pants flying through the desert, the motorhome blow through, you go, what does that mean? And then you learn what that means. You see this lowrider rocking on the hydraulic lifters and the back windows blown out, there's shell casings on the ground. What does that mean? And you learn, you hook everybody in, and then you tell them in the most incredible way. The writing is so great on this show. The directing is great. I'm just proud to be part of your team.
Oh, God bless you, my friend.
Thank you.
We got to get Ed.
wonderful to
We
hear.
got to
Yes,
we got to
I
hang out
like
with Ed
this.
all the time. He makes us feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's true.
Well,
I'll
it's
speak
great
the
having a
truth.
legend tell you.
No
this.
kidding.
That means something special.
No kidding. So Omar Mascati here.
Oh, yes.
How
Playing
great is
Omar,
he?
playing
He's
Omar.
so wonderful.
Omar playing
He's
Omar.
so great.
We had to cast
such
him
a
because
sweet
his
guy.
name was the character's name was already Omar, right?
Yeah. And we looked at a ton of people for this role. We were going crazy trying to find this role, because finding the right level of, like, we didn't want him to be a kiss ass, and we didn't
Right.
want him to be supercilious, and we wanted him to be a kind of a real assistant,
And
that
he's a
somebody-
great assistant. I'd
and he's
love to have
great.
this guy.
He's
He
great.
is. He's
Yes.
as real as
Positive.
anybody.
I
But-
want him to be my assistant.
I like
you
Jen
know?
Carroll better still. My real life assistant, but he'd be a close second. This guy.
He
Omar.
has things in common with Gordon.
He has more things in common with Jen. I think.
And wait a minute,
That's
was that a joke? The character's name was Omar, and then it turned out to be.
It was not
Yes.
a joke. It just we named the character. Jonathan named the character Omar before we started casting.
And then it turned out to
then
be
it
a guy
turned out
named
that
Omar.
he was the best guy for the job.
He's so good in the
he
part.
was so great.
Isn't that weird?
So I need to ask you guys, how did you come up with this? Because I think that this is like pertinent information here. What on earth made you decide to make Jimmy's, sort of muse, the inflatable man?
Oh, that's
Well, we were looking at the one in our office, and we thought, hey, why don't we?
I think we were
because we have one mounted in front of the office to attract people to the writers' room, to get any writing
To
done
attract
that they
writers.
need. That's,
Yeah.
it's,
No, we were talking about it, and we were trying to think of what were the things that might, The idea of the tube man, I think, came before even any of this stuff with what the montage was going to be or what was going to be happening in this episode. That we liked the idea that something somewhat arbitrary and kind of fortuitous, almost like a sign from above, came to him at a strange moment, we also were talking about, like, why would you dress up like you were a fucking tube man, you know? Like, and then it was like, oh, maybe. And I think there were just a series of conversations that it sort of started to crystallize around.
It was a perfect catalyst.
And that's a custom tube.
That is a custom
Right.
Custom-made
Absolutely.
tube.
Never seen a tube man with a tie.
Or air.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That was
Yes.
a custom tube band.
Custom made
custom
tube man.
Very nice.
Because he had to
Combined-
match the suit yeah.
Yeah.
There's the man. There's Ed.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I rarely like my work as much as I like this scene. I somehow love my work in the scene.
You are
More than
This is
looking at
great,
him
Rhea.
like he's from another planet.
Yes.
Didn't you say it was a Napoleon Dynamite kind of?
That's exactly
Yeah,
that's
that was
exactly
the
what we talked
thing
about.
we talked about? Okay.
And Kelley, this work you did in this sequence
It's
is just
incredible.
stellar.
I don't know how you
Even
guys
for you.
dance
You did
to
such
the
a great
beat,
job.
but
Everybody
it's
asked
totally
me that.
amazing.
It just lined up that way.
It's just incredible.
And all these many cuts of work involved, I know, is incredible. That's brilliant editing in this whole sequence. It's so damn good.
Well, I will let you in on a little secret. It was really funny. I really stressed over this right before the holiday, all during the holiday break, and after the holiday, because I had no idea what to do.
Wow.
And I finally went to Diane. Do you remember this, Diane?
I do remember. I was going to bring
I
it up.
went to Diane one evening because I had no idea. I said, I'm really tapped out. I'm gonna go for boxes. And I remember you kind of looking like, yikes. And I'm like, I got nothing else. And so I spent the week and did it. And then on a Wednesday morning, we had done like all the other two, the teaser and Act 1, and we were ready to start this act. And I was scared to death because I didn't have any other ideas. And I pressed play and just like kind of cowered. And the first thing I heard was Vince laughing like up a storm. And I was like, oh God, yes, thank you. Thank you. And then when it was over, you're like, go get everybody in the office. Everybody in the office piled in and you made me
I
play it
did a
again.
great job.
We watch it over and over again.
And I love Ed. I love you so much in this scene, and all this stuff coming up. And I love. I never thought in my professional life I'd have this conversation.
I know.
Was this
Another
fun to
good
shoot?
sequence. It was so much fun to shoot. And everybody was so good. That young lady, what is her name again?
Jessie Ennis.
She is fantastic.
Yeah.
The first day I worked with her, I went, I got somebody that's going to have a line or two in the whole arc of the thing, but she has so much to do. Rightly so. She's so good. Everybody is.
You guys are so great. We're not talking number 2. No, number 1. I'm sorry. We're not talking number 1.
And this of course is Jennifer Bryan showing off with all, now she finally gets to let loose with all these crazy suits.
Yeah.
And I have to
Yes.
say, these suits look better and better to me. I think I'm the only one who believes this. I believe every man is going to be dressing like this within 10 years.
Hey, if people dressed in suits like they did in the 70s, anything could happen.
That's absolutely true.
This stuff could hit. You just never know. And the track here, by the way, the music is called Scorpio by Dennis Coffey. Dennis Coffey and his band. And this is from
And you heard
the
this
early 70s.
You heard this on your satellite radio driving to work.
Yeah.
I did, and I always have to give this is again one of these rare one in 1,000 instances where Thomas Golubic doesn't come up with the track because he's the man. This was just one of those rare things where I happen to be hearing this. Come into the editing room and saying, "Hey, why don't we pull this down off the internet?" Because I just heard it on the satellite radio
It's
driving
a
to work.
great piece of music. I really liked it. It really helped make the scene wonderful.
Good.
You know what somebody has mentioned to me? They said that this montage reminds them of Mod Squad.
Nice.
Yes,
Which I
think
love
it
it.
does. I'm
I
old enough
don't
to
remember at all. I mean, my mom, I think, watched that show.
I
but-
remember.
Yeah.
Definitely Mod Squad. Very good.
I love it.
But I think that's part of the music too, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's
the whole package.
The split screens,
yeah.
the color. It's
Yeah.
it's exuberant. and I watch it. He's having a lot of fun.
It's
Making Clifford Maine miserable.
It's our first glimpse of Saul, really.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
the first time we really see.
That's a good point, Dave.
That's
who
right.
he's gonna
That's
be,
that's right. It is just that.
Yeah, on all levels, you just get to see him being in your face. You
Yeah.
know,
And
like,
we've been
that's
waiting
everything
for that.
about it. We have.
We've been waiting for that for a while, so it's really, really nice to see.
And
Yeah,
we've been
it's a
waiting
great
for
payoff.
this too. Cliff is such a good guy. He's a good guy to work for. And Jimmy really does do him wrong. And I love this scene. It's cathartic. This scene was it cathartic to play? Ed?
It was, because it's very real. It wasn't too little. It wasn't too much. You know, he's supposed to react this way at this point. Cliff Maine is. You know, anybody with a right mind would fire him at this point. But the way that he does it is totally real and but not over the top. He's not going to scream and yell at him. He's a very conservative guy in many ways, and so it's a perfect scene to play. And it was shot well and edited well. I really enjoyed doing it and seeing it.
But it's like, Jimmy is playing Cliff for a fool, and nobody likes to be played for a fool at all.
Right.
And he's kind of calling him on it. It's like, but he's calling him on it with no bullshit, too.
Yeah. I love the way you play this. I love the way both you guys play this.
I sort of identify with Cliff here because he's been a really good guy, and he's had his generosity he's been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And
we also kind of felt like it was an important beat because, all last season, Jimmy's been trying to get into HH&M, and he keeps trying to sort of like pursue this ideal or seemingly this ideal of being in like a big firm and a big sort of button-down environment, and to say, well, what went wrong here? Like, you got what you wanted.
You got what you wanted.
You've sought for this. It was tricky to kind of figure out how it would work, but I think
You did it
this
perfectly.
worked
It's all real and organic, and this scene is wonderful. And that final moment
Oh, I love this.
coming up at the end here
Yeah.
is so good. Bob is such a wonderful actor. He was great in Breaking Bad, and he has grown as an actor. He
really has.
Incredible the work he's doing in this show.
And you could tell he feels bad about, I didn't want to hurt Cliff. Cliff's a good guy. I had to get out of here. I got bigger fish to fry, but maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe there's a better way to do it.
I know, but his answer to him is so perfect. It's like,
For what it's worth,
you're an
what an
asshole.
asshole. I love the way you deliver that
Yeah.
line.
Because he's almost asking he's almost like asking for like when you go to confession or something, and it's no,
he's
you're not
hoping
going to
I'll
get off that
respond in
easy.
kind. Yeah, well, you're not so bad either. You got to get out, but you're okay.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for
like,
saying that,
no.
buddy. No, but that's
asking
not
for
what he gets. He gets
forgiveness.
what he deserves.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now, who wrote this letter on screen? Was that the lovely Ariel Levine?
I'm pretty sure it was Ariel. Yeah.
It looks way better now
Yes.
than I've ever seen it look.
We fixed it.
What'd
That was
you
a
do, Dan?
digital fix. There was like a moray or something in the original shot, so we got the files from the prop department and we just reconstructed it. So made a new computer screen.
Diane,
Didn't you
were
make
the
it
bo-
not rain there?
Were
too?
the boxes difficult?
No one's gonna need it.
Like
The
on
boxes
the montage?
for the montage? I mean, yeah, it's very challenging. I mean, we had to rebuild it all.
Hey,
But it's part of the process.
And then the other thing that had to happen was that the color had to all match and had to all be balanced out just right. And Ted, our colorist, did a masterful job of making sure that Jimmy popped and that we got the maximum craziness out of all those colors.
Yeah, it was a two-step process for sure, because you had to do it once and put it together and then look at it, make sure it all worked together, and then go back and fix the parts that needed to be made more vibrant or
Proof of concept.
Absolutely.
just so that like Jimmy matched
Yes.
the tube
You
man.
had to fix this card too. This card
We
was a
did fix
giant
that
pain
card,
in the ass.
yes.
I had it in my head that there was a laser cut card with it looks great because you can see through it. You can always see the W and the M depending on how the light hits it from both sides, and because it's symmetrical from both sides. I thought that was fun, but you would never make a card like this because it's a giant pain in the butt.
It's a little impractical.
It's a
Every time you put it away,
heavier
or-
card stock. I would recommend
Yeah.
slightly heavier card stock.
Maybe wood
you had to
cardstock,
fix like a
just
crease
piece
or
of
something,
wood.
right?
Yeah, it got bent,
Yeah.
and so there was when she was holding it, the light was reflecting on it in a way that just made it look kind of flimsy. So we had to we cleaned that up so that it looked. So the corner was bent, and then there was a bend in the middle.
Yeah.
We cleaned that up.
If you made this thing out of a certain kind of plastic, it'd probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this thing wouldn't
Yeah,
work
that's
as
a
a
good idea.
paper card.
Like a little, yeah. On this though, it's like I remember you wanted to go into this scene and really, really look at the editing here because Jimmy is really putting himself on the line here. And this is like probably one of the biggest, you said one of the biggest questions that he's going to ask him.
Yeah, this is essentially the scene. Gordon, what would you say? This is essentially the scene where it's like getting down on one knee and saying, "Will you marry me?"
Kind of, yeah. I think we did a lot of that this season, especially with the two of them, where all of the romance comes out other places.
Yeah.
All of the sort of romantic turns for them, because we didn't, I think a lot of us have the feeling that like, a sex scene is kind of boring actually because you release a lot of tension, but this kind of thing where he's super sincere and his heart is on his sleeve, but it's all about something else.
Yeah.
All of the
Right.
romance is someplace else. Is actually kind of
And how
much more
great is
intimate.
Ray? Ray is such a
She's
wonderful
so
actress,
great.
and she shines in this show and this season so brightly. She is incredible. I was a fan before, but now I'm just over the moon in love with this actress.
She's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
She's amazing.
She's just great.
Or are you gonna?
She's going to let him down easy here. And she's asking him the pertinent question: what kind of lawyer you're going to be? I love the way you wrote this, Gordon.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
other pertinent question: we're already together. Why do we need to be partners? And honestly, that's a hard question to answer.
He has no answer.
And why isn't he just simply asking her to marry him? I mean, he always comes at things a little cockeyed, a little sideways.
Right.
Why isn't he just asking her to marry him?
As well as we know Jimmy, and that's one of the things we talk about in the writers' room. There are parts of him that are still a little enigmatic. There are things that I think they're still to be unraveled, like just that question you
And I
asked
think
right there.
it's true of her as well. Of course, I mean, she's,
And that's not
you know,
your fault.
their bond comes through so clearly on the screen.
I gotta go into it as
But
me.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are wondering, like,
Yeah.
if she knows he's this way,
But-
why is she kind of all in on this relationship too?
I think I hopefully we've hinted at it in ways that people like, but to my mind, they're both somewhat damaged people, and we haven't really gotten into like it's this piece of backstory leads to this piece of present like psychology or something like that. But you get enough, I think, or hopefully you get enough that you can sort of connect some of those dots. Like, oh, they're both drawn together by something that's a little bit off about both, and that cockeyed Jimmy and. Later,
And
we
you
hear a
see
little bit
she's
about where
vulnerable
Kim's
to that
from.
kind of
Yeah.
excitement too, with that scene that you wonderfully wrote, the scene with the tequila, with that Sting, where they get all that expensive tequila.
Right.
She buys into the Sting concept. She gets high on it herself. You see that, so it paves the way for you to buy in the reality of what she's going along with
Right.
for a while.
Excellent point. And here's the wonderful Carrie Condon, who I still have not met.
And neither have I.
Which
Neither
I
have I. I
am
don't believe
mortified to
I've met-
have to say.
Yes, it's a little embarrassing.
Wonderful Irish actress who was so great in a great many things, including the short-lived Luck, the TV show Luck on HBO, which I really
Oh, the
thought
David Milch show, right?
Yeah, and Michael Mann and David Milch, which I thought was great. I wanted to see more.
Yeah,
of it.
me too. I liked it too.
And she was
She was
in
one of
that-
the jockeys.
and she used her actual accent.
Yeah, on that show, she's got a beautiful Irish accent in real life.
She's wonderful in this part.
She does great. An interesting fact, Gordon, tell us about the outside of the house we're about to see in a minute is the same exterior house that we see in Breaking Bad when Mike is dropping off his granddaughter Kelley, and that episode played by a different actress, an older actress, and she wants all the Mylar balloons in his car, but he needs him to go kill a bunch of people. But that's the same exterior, but this is a different interior.
Right. This is a different place. It's in the same neighborhood. It's around the corner basically. But we were scouting interiors, and we loved that back playhouse, which is pretty awesome. And it just felt a little bit more obviously a desirable place on the inside. So, and the production design team did a great job. They matched the doors, and they had to go through some rigmarole to make it look like they could plausibly be the same place.
Did you just
So
say
the
that the
outside isn't the same,
The outside and the inside are not the same house.
but the outside is the same as the one in
The
Breaking
outside
Bad.
is the one from Breaking Bad. Yes.
and there's a different actress who is the mother of the child, the granddaughter?
Yes.
In Breaking Bad.
That's-
Really?
that
You
was
got
a-
away with it. I didn't notice that it was different. I went, oh, they got the same
She's
actress.
more or less an extra on Breaking
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
She didn't have very much to do, so
So when we cast Carrie, we had to think in terms of that woman was blonde. Oh, and before it gets too
Yes,
far away,
Jennifer Hasty.
Jennifer Hasty, who plays the realtor you just saw, did such a wonderful job. Thank you, Jennifer, for doing this little part here. We got to figure out more for Jennifer to do.
Yeah.
She was so great as the realtor
She was.
on Breaking Bad when she got into the fight with
Marie.
Betsy Brandt, with Marie. And her character's name is Stephanie Doswell. I think you might be able to see it on the sign there if you got a good enough HD TV. And Stephanie Doswell was a good friend of mine and a friend of my girlfriend Holly back in Richmond, Virginia. She and her husband Robert. Little shout out to them. But Jennifer was so good in that episode, we had to get her back. And thank you for doing that, Jennifer.
So that's another overlap between the worlds of Breaking Bad, and the worlds of Better Call Saul.
That's right.
The return of the
Which is a
esteemed-
fan I love. I just love those.
Look at all the bird shit
know.
on this.
Yes.
Look at all the bird shit on this car.
We had
That's
to
a
go
great
through
touch.
different
It's
iterations
bad.
How did
to
you
get
get that
the right
on there?
balance of bird shit on the esteem.
Did you have to squeeze a bunch of birds over the hood?
I did.
Was that your department?
That's really what the writer on set is there for. So it's just squeezing birds.
It is.
I happen to know no real birds were harmed.
Yes. Thank you for
That's
pointing
true.
that out. What is the bird shit made out of? What does it taste like?
It doesn't taste good. I wouldn't recommend it.
Do you know what it's made of, sirs?
I don't know. It's made of.
Oh, it looks real.
It does. It does.
It
They
does.
did a great job.
It's funny though too. Sometimes you have to know exactly how much to put on to have it
Yeah.
register on camera.
Yeah.
And sometimes that was a lot of bird shit.
It is.
Having seen it in person.
In
was
person,
a lot.
it was a
But
ton, and it was like, no, actually, it reads perfect.
And I love that attention to detail. The car's been sitting in a yard somewhere. And
Yeah.
it's been crapped on. It's been under a tree somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the
And-
thing I've always loved. The stuff in Breaking Bad too. We had the blue tape on the windshield.
Yeah.
It was- I just love that. It's like, oh my God, they got that right. You
Yeah,
guys
well-
always do that.
And it would be on for episode after episode after episode.
Yeah. Props to both Omar and Bob here because that desk was so heavy. It
Oh,
took-
really?
Oh yeah, Props had like 5 people on his old steel desk. It's
Oh, both
just
of them.
Yeah,
Both
both
of
of
them
them were heavy, but
Yeah.
that one was ridiculous.
Was there a lightweight version of the Coca-Cola desk?
There was a lightweight version of the Coca-Cola desk. There was no lightweight version of his sort of
Of the
old steel
old
desk.
So they just had to slide it up that
So
ramp.
they just had to yeah, and they did it. That's thing. There was no assist or anything. They just
I like those old
slid it up.
industrial desks.
Yeah, it looks like,
What about the dentist chair? Was that a real dentist chair he was getting up on the?
Yeah.
It is.
That
Yeah.
looked heavy. That looked like
it
really
really-
heavy.
Well,
really
that,
did,
that's
didn't it?
that's a later episode, of course. And
Oh,
hopefully
Bleed My
Which
Big
one?
Mouth.
But we could
No,
absolutely
and
talk
that
about
was,
it.
But you
we
should have
did-
watched
they
all the
did-
episodes before listening to
Yes,
these people.
please.
If you
sorry,
haven't,
sorry.
you're crazy.
They actually, we actually did take a lot of the inner workings of
Of that.
of the chair out to make it
Okay.
a little easier. But Bob is great at miming. and
I thought it
making
was a real
feel
heavy dentist
yes.
because I know how heavy those are.
It
I
was-
don't know. I have a feeling how
It
heavy.
was
Yeah.
heavy. It was not as heavy as it would be
Wow.
in real life. We didn't want anyone to get hurt.
He did good.
I've read a couple of tweets, and I guess some comments on this episode, and people are asking about that lamp, by the way. And,
Talk about the lamp. Was that on purpose?
It just happened. It just
Damn!
happened in that take.
it just happened.
I think that sometimes the things that just happen are the hardest things for people to believe, like
Yeah.
getting the pizza on the roof,
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, and this it just happened.
And
Yeah.
thank God Bob went with it
He
and just
did.
fixed it and didn't say, "Oh shit, guys, let's cut." That
well, it's
went
funny
wrong.
because, last year in episode 102, when we were introduced to the inner office in that episode, it was doing that as well.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
that lamp kept falling over, and those guys would just kind of go with it, and it became kind of a thing. But no, the lamp is not on cue or on any kind of, special effects on set. It just does it, and they just.
And it's good acting.
It's
It
just
makes
a-
it look
it is.
really
It's a
good.
born
great.
scene stealer.
Yes, it's good lamp
That
acting.
lamp.
That lamp
Some
upstage
people
is
have glasses
everybody.
acting. Some people have lamp acting.
If you watch very carefully in some of the scenes, it's moving slowly because it's haunted.
I love it. That is the kind of stuff that if you said, "I want the lamp to fall at this moment," you'd probably take you 14 takes.
Yes.
You'd be
Yeah.
pulling your hair out.
You couldn't do it.
Well,
Yeah,
we've
you
done
never-
we've
yeah.
done stuff like that.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
Well, like the pizza, that was a good shout back to the pizza. It's like the kind of stuff.
Well, like sort of on the first episode this season with the door and the little doorstop
That's
getting
true.
Moving and stuff.
That
Yeah.
was very challenging.
Great scene just then. I love the photography. I love, and again, props to Colin Buxey, who's directed a great many Breaking Bad episodes and has directed.
He's directed more
Two,
episodes of
three?
Saul than
Saul.
anyone else.
Yes,
This is his third
he's
episode.
a very talented gentleman.
Is he from the UK?
He is from the UK. He used to direct a lot of Miami Vices. He's told me all kinds of great Miami Vice stories back in the day.
I'll bet.
He did? I did not know
Yeah, he tells me great stories about being in South Beach in Miami and shutting down A1A, shutting down Collins Avenue there. Back in the 80s, apparently Miami was a lot easier to. I mean, it was not the hip place that it is now. It was kind of on harder times in the 80s, and they had I think in a lot of ways Miami Vice, the show, probably helped regenerate Miami, the town.
I was there in the 80s a bit. I'm a friend of Don Johnson's.
Oh, yeah?
Friend of Glenn Fry's, and so I was there then. It was quite the place in the 80s, believe me.
I'll bet. Wow. I'm so sorry about Glenn Fry. What a shame.
What a great talent. What a great man he was. He was a dear friend. I knew him from the early days at the Troubadour in the early 70s, and he was a great artist and a great man.
What a shame. What a wonderful, wonderful talent. That's Diane. That's passing away too young.
Yeah.
As we record this, that was several months back.
Can I give a shout out to Dennis?
Yes.
Bootsy.
He's
so
Dennis
great.
Bootsikaris is a dear friend. We did a play at the Geffen, a David Mamet play. What a wonderful actor.
He's
I love him.
excellent.
He is. He's
so
wonderful, and he's wonderful in the
just
show.
easy. Just everything. We gave him all these legal dialogues throughout the show, and he just sort of he's just in them. He's just completely in them.
Organic and wonderful and real always.
Wonderful actor. Another actor I have sadly not met.
But Gordon, you worked with him last season.
Yes,
He was introduced in your
He was
episode, I
introduced
believe.
in 108, and where he had reams of just endless legal jargon
nailed
to
it.
go, and he
Yeah.
and he just learned them and talked. It's just he's a human being. That's all.
Yeah.
He's just a human being saying the things that he should say, and
Right.
it's great.
I was listening to an audiobook with him. I don't remember which one, but it was recent. I was like, oh, Dennis Bootsikaris. He was the one who's doing the spoken word on. So I guess, he works a lot like that.
Yeah.
He's I love that moment, the way he played off the it's rich actually.
Yeah.
He's
He's
great.
great.
He did.
He brought a whole new dimension to it this season too. Like last season, he's sort of a little bit villainous, and this season you see that other side. And,
Right.
And
I think it's easy. I think it's easy to sort of see opposing lawyers as villains sometimes, and it's like, this is your job. These are
exactly.
people. I know that it's the jokes, the lawyer jokes in the world are legion, but these are people. They're working and they're trying to help their clients. They have a job to advocate for somebody.
I have to say, and to extend that thought, I used to buy into all the lawyers are all crumb bums. My whole life. Working on this show has actually made me, oddly enough, because Jimmy is not the world's greatest lawyer, as far as certainly in terms of following the rules, to say the least. But my appreciation for lawyers has actually grown since we started this show.
Every time I see this scene, I'm looking for Walter White on that rooftop.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about it. I'm like going, oh, there's a guy, there's a guy on a roof with binoculars. I guess that would be about 5-7 years later.
I love this shot. This is a beautifully shot sequence.
I
Colin
love
did a
this
great job with
music
this.
too.
Yeah.
So how did
Dave
you guys?
Porter, great music.
How did you guys go over the side of the thing with the
I was
camera?
wondering that too. Is that a
Techno crane?
They laid some rails. I was on my way back to Albuquerque.
Yeah, this was a Monday morning,
this is a
early
Monday
Monday morning.
morning.
This was the day after the Emmys, is when they shot this scene.
Yeah.
I'll bet you that was just an extension. If I had to guess, an extension on the end of the dolly where the camera goes over the edge.
I
But
love her this scene.
I love Mrs. Blunt.
She's like so protective of Jimmy. It's so cute.
Eileen
Have a seat.
Fogarty.
Eileen Fogarty.
Return to the camera guy.
I love the crazy Claymore Mine T-shirt the kids wearing.
I'm always happy to see these two guys.
Me too.
What an antisocial little bastard. The character, not the actor. The actor's wonderful. Both these guys do a great job.
They
and
do.
hopefully it goes without saying, they wouldn't have been, I'll say it anyway, they wouldn't have been in the show as much if we didn't like the two guys so much and they didn't do such a good job. But we keep finding places to put them.
Yeah, because it was kind of a one-off last year on the
It was.
the Billboard episode.
It really was a one-off originally.
We don't. Yeah, we like to go back, look back, and see what we've done, and see what that can tell us about what will happen in the future.
That's why we got to figure out a way to get Cliff back in the
That's
show.
so
Here,
true.
here.
Yeah.
So true.
I love that he has all his suits, and I mean he's basically moved back in, but He sure does have a lot more clothes than he used to have.
He does.
That's true.
He just
He used
bought
to have,
like
like 3
8
suits
for
or
that,
something.
for his quitting montage.
Should be getting their offer tomorrow.
This is maybe the smallest set that I've ever. I mean, I didn't, but I've shot in this set. Obviously not in this episode, but I've shot as a director. This is like the smallest set.
I thought that bathroom in that restaurant in Breaking Bad was the smallest one you've ever shot.
This
Well, to be fair, I didn't shoot that one. I didn't direct.
okay.
That was
Which bathroom
that
was
was
that?
Larissa Kondracki. That was in the Loyola's. And that's a real. Actually, you're right. That one's tougher.
we didn't actually think that she could shoot in that bathroom, and then
She wanted to
showed
prove us wrong, and she did.
But the weird thing about this is the set actually looks bigger on television
It
than it
does.
does
Oh,
in
it's
fact.
really small.
It's so goddamn tiny.
So tiny.
It actually, I hate that it looks. But there's only one lens you can use, which is basically your widest
But
lens.
can't you pull walls?
Yeah,
in
that
this?
wall
Well, of course the
behind
walls are
all the-
pulled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's still it's easy to pull walls, but it makes it look bigger if you pull the wall and you pull the camera back.
There's a lens you can use. I used it on was it the pilot? There's a lens where you can literally see all 4 walls if you put it in one corner.
Oh my
I think it's a
God.
10 or a 12 millimeter. You can literally see all 4 walls in
Wow.
the ceiling.
That's like GoPro looking.
Yeah, yeah.
Firms under one roof.
We're both headed uptown, so why can't we share a taxi?
These guys are so good
I
together.
love Ray here.
Aren't they?
Just
Yeah.
kind of like
And I do the most.
she's still nervous about this, because she's hanging it out there now to like. Before she was turning him down, but now it's like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can. She's tried to figure out a way to square the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
she's sort
nervous
of.
that he won't be in on it.
And it's a beautiful symmetry
Yeah.
that you guys did, because earlier he's looking at her. What is she going to say? Am I going to talk her into it? Now she's actually
Yeah.
the shoe's on the other foot here.
He
Yeah.
has his
Yeah,
pitch
she sort of made a revision to
Yeah.
his.
to his pitch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, great job, everybody. And again, Mr. Begley, just an honor and a privilege to have
Such a
you.
pleasure.
Right back at you. It's one of the joyous experiences of my career. I really loved working with you all.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
And thank you for joining us here on a Saturday afternoon. This is oddly, this is the earliest we've ever recorded one of these. Usually the show's not still running when we record these.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.